The next masterclass will most likely be a Lavinho style. And if you are asking me why, you've been probably following my content for a while. And you already know I've been talking a lot about the big updates happening in Blue Lock Rivals, and specifically about the masterclass. That's confirmed to be coming soon. We've all been waiting for this, and while we know that masterclasses are on the way, what we don't know yet is who exactly will be the next one. We've heard rumors, we've seen some polls, and now I think we've got a pretty good idea of who might be up next. A while ago, I made a video where I talked about how masterclasses were definitely confirmed and how we could expect the next masterclass soon. Now, we've got some new info and a huge clue to help us narrow it down. You've probably seen it by now, but recently Miro created a poll asking the community which masterclass player they'd like to see next. And let me tell you, the response was overwhelming. So, here's the exciting part. Lavinho totally dominated that poll, taking home an incredible 43% of the votes. That's way ahead of second place, which was Snuffy with just 18%. Honestly, that kind of response speaks volumes about how much the community wants Lavinho in the game. So, in today's video, we're going to break down why Lavinho is such a strong candidate to be the next masterclass. We'll also dive into what it would mean for the game, the possible changes the devs could make to avoid past mistakes, and why it might actually happen sooner than we think. But before we get into all that, I want to remind you all to hit that subscribe button, give the video a like, and of course comment below on who you think should be the next masterclass. I always love reading your thoughts, and I'll be sure to reply to as many comments as I can. Let's get into it. Alright, so why Lavinho? Why do I think he could be the next masterclass when there are so many great candidates out there? The first and most obvious reason is popularity. We've seen it in the polls, we see it on TikTok, Twitter, and basically every corner of the Blue Lock Rivals community. Lavinho is a fan favorite. But let's break down exactly why he's so popular and why that matters so much. Popularity in the gaming world isn't just about having a lot of fans, it's about having active players who are engaged and excited about your character. When it comes to Lavinho, the excitement is real. You've seen the TikToks, the fan art, the memes. People love Lavinho. He's inspired by Neymar Jr., who's one of the most exciting and talked about players in real-life soccer, at least back in the 2000s and 10s. Neymar had this whole aura of being the most unpredictable and skilled, and that energy translates perfectly into Lavinho. He's got that same aura, that same kind of personality that makes him fun to watch. Even though Neymar has had his critics, particularly from other players, the fans always rally behind him, and that's what we're seeing with Lavinho. Now, it's not just that Lavinho is a cool character with insane moves. There's another connection to him too. We're talking about a character inspired by one of the most recognizable players in the soccer world. Neymar has a huge fan base, and by extension, Lavinho does as well. And the cool thing about Lavinho is that while he's definitely inspired by Neymar, he doesn't come with the same baggage. Neymar has faced a lot of criticism, especially from rival players who say his style of play is a bit too cocky. But with Lavinho, you don't get that negativity. Players love him, fans love him. Even those who aren't typically into flashy players can't help but appreciate how exciting Lavinho is. And that's where the devs come in. They've got to see that kind of engagement and enthusiasm, right? They can't just ignore the fact that Lavinho is one of the most requested players in the game. The community is showing up for him, and when the community shows up like this, the devs would be foolish not to take advantage of that. If Lavinho gets added, you can bet the community will be hyped, and the game's activity levels will shoot up like almost 1 million players when Nelrin came. Now, let's talk about another fact, the Loki update. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It didn't go the way we all hoped. I can even say this was one of the worst updates in Blue Lock Rivals history. No hate to the devs, but as everyone saw, I can totally say that. The biggest issue? The spin system. When Loki dropped, we only got 10 to 15 spins initially, which was honestly way too few for a lot of players to even get close to unlocking Loki's masterclass. And even after that, we didn't get enough spins to compensate for the low chances of getting Loki through the spins we did have. I remember spinning, and even after hundreds of tries, Loki wasn't in my roster. It was frustrating, and I'm sure a lot of you felt the same way. But here's the thing. I think the devs have learned from that experience. When they bring Lavinho into the game, they're going to need to get the spin system right. So here's my suggestion. More spins. A lot more. Honestly, I think the devs should be giving out at least 40 to 50 spins when Lavinho drops. Now, I know some of you might think that sounds like a lot, but let me explain why I think it's necessary. The chances of getting a masterclass are so low that having more spins would just give everyone a better shot at actually unlocking Lavinho. It would make the update feel a lot more rewarding. And even if players don't get Lavinho, they'll still walk away with some awesome new world-class characters, which is a win in itself. And also, here's a bold suggestion. What if the devs temporarily increase the chances of landing a masterclass when Lavinho drops? Now, I know that might sound a little risky, but hear me out. What if, for a limited time, let's say 10 to 15 minutes after the update, the odds of landing a masterclass were boosted by just 0.5%? Right now, the chances are about as I probably remember, 0.175% from lucky spins. But a small increase to 0.675% for a brief period could give players just enough of a chance to feel like they're not wasting their spins. It's a simple idea, but I think it could work. It wouldn't ruin the rarity of master classes, but it would give players more of a chance to get Lavinho. It would also create a sense of urgency. Players would want to log in during that time to make sure they get their shot at Lavinho. And considering how much frustration there was with the Loki update, I really think this is something the devs should consider. People were complaining that only a small percentage of players managed to get Loki, and I think the devs know they don't want to repeat that mistake. Now let's get into the exciting stuff. Lavinho's moveset. Since he's inspired by Neymar, there are some really cool possibilities here because, as we remember, in the manga, there are only at max 2 to 3 moves that he showed, so yeah. Neymar is known for his, I can say, inventory of dribbles, for example, his insane rainbow flicks, his elastico, all those moves that make him stand out on the field. I think it's safe to say that Lavinho will have a moveset that reflects those same skills, and let's be real. Lavinho isn't just going to have the same moves as everyone else. His style has to be unique and make him feel special. So giving him some of those iconic Neymar moves makes perfect sense. Plus, imagine how they'd look in the game. You can already picture the VFX for these moves. Aura farming, colorful, and exciting. Now, what about Lavinho's awakening? This is where things could get really fun. What if they gave him a special move inspired by Neymar's famous backheel goal? Imagine it. Lavinho scoring with an insane backheel, and it's his signature goal-scoring move. It's the kind of thing that would make players go crazy every time it happens. Plus, it would be a great way to set Lavinho apart from other masterclasses and give him that extra bit of flavor that makes him truly memorable. So, when could we see Lavinho in the game? We don't have an official date yet, but I'm willing to bet that it won't be in August. If we look at how long it took to develop the Loki update, we're looking at around a month or so of development. So I think we'll see an announcement in August, but Lavinho might not actually be available in the game until September. It makes sense, right? The devs need time to make sure everything is perfect, especially after the Loki update. So, my thoughts on why Lavinho could be the next masterclass in Blue Lock Rivals. With his popularity, his potential moveset, and the lessons the devs have learned from the Loki update, I think he's got a great shot at being the next big thing in the game. But what do you think? Do you agree with me? Are you excited for Lavinho to be the next masterclass, or do you have someone else in mind? Let me know in the comments below. I want to hear your thoughts. And don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more Blue Lock Rivals content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.